So the manner in which we will just conduct this is I go run through pretty much in detail which I put on the forum a few days ago with respect to my four-pronged approach to unity and peace and unity, in that order actually. I'll try to go through that quickly enough so that we can have a reasonable amount of time for questions. It's worth saying I don't have all the answers, otherwise I will be running a one-man association. Part of today is also for you guys to ask questions, to share your ideas, so I can know what you think, because as people keep saying, this Soba UK now all we own, number one my own. So I will run through my plan. Then I'll open the floor for questions and comments, whichever you feel like giving. And then before we start, just some house rules. We want to be respectable to each other. We want to have one person speaking at a time. I have a mute button for everyone here. I don't want to use it, but if I have to use it, I would, just to maintain some sort of order on this call. So without further ado, I'll get straight to it. So if you read these messages on the forum, you will know in answering one of the questions posed by Mr. Atmara on the strategy and framework to achieve peace and unity. Okay, thank you guys. So I'll carry on. On that memo that I wrote, I kind of listed 4 areas where I feel I want to approach this problem. And so I'll go with the first one, which is the 4 were engagement, looking for peace between both groups, peace within our own group. Okay, getting straight into it, I was talking about the engagement phase, the phase for seeking peace, the phase for getting our group in order, given the current circumstances, and then eventually a unified Soba UK. So at the engagement level, so far, we've not really met the other group. When I say we haven't, the executives of one group hasn't met the executives of the other group. I think it's high time for that to happen. Not just the executive, the key players of both groups. I think we need to sit face to face with each other and really find out how we want to go about this and have a proper talk. So far, it's been WhatsApp forums, press releases, through lawyers. We should keep all of that to the side and really have a talk. I think that is missing, and I think that's a very, very key aspect in this process we're trying to execute. So that engagement will be a face-to-face meeting, and I look forward to having that within the first 60 days of my presidency. So there's a timeline to it where I would hold myself to deliver on that. Another thing is I would try, maybe through that meeting, to see if I can attend their own General Assembly and have a means of speaking to their members to try and explain what it is we're trying to do, to try and dispel the notion that we do not want peace or unity. So I would like to have that sort of opportunity to speak to the wider group on the other side. If possible, myself and my executive. I think that will go a long way. Also, under the engagement, I would like to propose to both groups that we start looking to share activities, social activities, especially the free ones. So we always have in our calendar a winter outdoor activity that can be shared between both groups, shared as in jointly participate. I think the more we meet, the more we get to speak to each other, the more we interact, the more our families interact, our children, it softens the sort of animosity between us. And a lot of it is just trying to pave the way for an organic, natural peace process. I think stuff like that will go a long way. Talking to them face to face, jointly participating in social activities, outdoor activities, and just being around each other. Step away from WhatsApp forums, step away from press releases, and just have a talk. Because ultimately, we have to find out where each of us have to go with this. It's good and fine saying, oh, we want unity. It's good and fine saying, oh, we want to work towards it. But we need to put our money where our mouth is. And that can only happen once we start interacting physically. So I think that is a very key thing. In the social activities, we'll also have children participating together. So there is a long strides we can make under this banner. But specifically to peace, which is the second point, I would like to have an agreement with the other side, whereby we can distance ourselves from individuals who carry on with insults or harsh rhetoric and anything that's contrary to the process of peace. I would like to put together a framework with them to sort of, we can't really punish people, but we can distance publicly. We can put out press messages to say this person does not represent the group, what they've done is wrong, and call them out. I think once we start isolating those incidents, we would go a long way to reduce them. There is no point trying to work towards peace and have individuals trying to destroy the process and then doing nothing about it. I think there ought to be an agreement for that with the other group. And then it comes to the part of the legal case. As I said, and I've been saying on the forum, I favor a mediated settlement approach. I don't particularly believe in the notion that people say unconditionally drop this case with no preconditions. It's reckless, it's dangerous, it's disrespectful to the authority of our General Assembly, and I would not be the one to do that. I prefer to sit down, have assurances, and possibly have a written document, because there's something we have to go back to in case of violation on any side. So we need to make sure we do this responsibly, outside the legal arena. The reason why we should do that, we should look to do that outside the legal arena, is it's cost effective for both sides. We might have more in our accounts more than the other side, but it's costing both of us, and that is not favorable to any of the groups. I think it's in both our interests to arrive at a mediated approach. Of course, it wouldn't be just giving up the case, it would be getting rid of the limited company as well. We have to go to the point where there's no area of contention. So I look forward to the advent of a settlement outside that framework. It may not happen, but it's worth a try. So for that is another area of peace. I would like to also extend to them in the area of peace to share stuff. Stuff, I mean, bereavement. Let's say bereavement drive. We can run something like that in our forum concerning a member of the other forum. At the end of the day, we keep hearing we're all brothers. We might as well put our words behind our actions. If we're brothers, then if somebody is hurt the other way, we need to rise up to the challenge. So I think those are the sort of moves to maintain peace, to encourage people to see an association that will eventually unite. If you've been following what I've been saying, of course, unity is not an immediate solution. It's not immediate one-stop thing to happen. It's a process. It will take time. It's got several elements to it. And anyone who keeps saying it's or portraying the fact that it's an immediate thing is either dishonest or has not considered or expressed fully what is involved. Unity within our group, it's a key thing. I think we may not have gotten to the point of a real division, but I think the seeds are being sown in our group. People might say it's just banter, but those seeds are sown, and if we ignore it, then we get to a situation we cannot control. So we need to make sure we have a responsible interaction daily, especially on the WhatsApp forum. I think there's been cries for a sort of code of conduct. I think that is necessary. I have that as part of my plan. A sort of WhatsApp police action where members can be temporarily kicked out of the forum if they are using offensive language. I think if we have that, we will go a long way to try and stem that behavior. I personally am very surprised that a lot of people haven't exited, given the sort of poison language that happens there on a day-to-day basis. But it's a good thing. I am proud of that. I'm glad that has not happened. But I think we can't just let this go on forever. We need to mend. We need to build our bond strongly. There's no point reaching out to the other group to try and unite if our house is not strong enough. I think that is something that is of interest. I would put in place that code of conduct. I will put in place a method to implement it, not just the text of it. And I would like to see our forum return to a place where mutual trust and respect exists, as opposed to what it is now. I'll move on. So the final phase is obviously unifying the group. So once we have engaged them, we are sharing social activities, we have a sort of agreement. It's coming. Can everyone mute, please? We kind of have an agreement to sort of distance from individuals who are trying to destroy the process. We have our group stronger by the day, involved in activities, involved in task force in the association, so we can get closer to each other and interact more than just words on the forum. I think we are in a very good place to now approach a sort of unity. Now, I don't have all the sort of steps or answers to that process. If we get everything right before then, it becomes a very natural thing. If we don't, then it will be premature going to that phase of unifying the group without going through these other steps. So that sort of sums up the detail about this four-pronged approach I present to you. A lot of it will be fleshed out in my manifesto that comes up before Saturday morning. I would end here for now, just in the interest of time. We kind of have bang on 30 minutes. We can actually have a conversation, and please try to be orderly about it. Thank you. So I'll take any questions. Anybody who wants to go on, start.
This Koje, can I speak?
Koje, yeah, carry on. Thank you.
Yeah. Just a little question for Mr. Presidential Candidate. Frankly, you said that you try to have some discussion with the other executives of the other group. Where I personally felt uncomfortable is, at the moment, ourselves and the other group bear the same name.
Koje, can you be slightly louder? It's not coming through. Sorry.
Is that better?
This is better. This is better.
Right. Okay. Where you said so many nice things to us working alongside with the other group, right? Where it doesn't sit well with me, before you go and engage to sit down with them, do you recognize that both of us are having the same name? And on paper, that will cause a little bit of an obstruction. That's where it doesn't sit well with me. And according to me, I'm looking at it like, should in case you have to sit down with these groups, they should have a different name, or it's ourselves that will have a different name. Then you can identify them as two groups.
Okay. I'll just repeat your question just in case everyone did not get that. You're saying before we sit down, you see a bit of a friction having the same name shared between two groups, right? When I speak of sit down, I want to give it an informal thing. This is not a formal sit down where you have a legal document drawn out and all that. So in the sort of informal framework of it, that stays out of the window.
I'm happy with that line, informal.
So this is more of an informal process. This is more of putting companionship and friendship into the process. So your point would really be valid if we're going to sit down formally. Then we have to have preconditions. But I want to approach that aspect of it informally, because ultimately everyone keeps saying we need to keep the egos out of this. The only way to keep the egos out of this is to go through that sort of first informal step. We shouldn't be hiding behind papers or posturing. That is not necessary if we really want peace. If we don't want peace, then let's keep doing what we want. But if we really want peace, we need to go at it this way before the formal process kicks in. I hope I've answered that.
I rest my case. It's informal. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Come on, guys.
Franklin Martin, yeah.
Hi, Martin.
Actually, you know, there have been some questions from Chris today in the forum, and I know you must have gone through all those questions. There are a few of those questions that let me put that aside. Like what Calvin, you said you will continue with this case. There are a few members that are already gearing up to write to the adjudicator, which you're already aware of. How are you going to deal with this in your presidency?
Okay, Martin, you're right. I've seen what Chris has put forward. I read the questions he asked about. I've seen what the assertions Calvin has been making. We need to take a step back. You write to the adjudicator, you have to understand in what capacity are you writing to the adjudicator. My understanding of this case, I'm not a legal mind, but my understanding of this case is we are, in this case, as an association, not as individuals. Now, an association has a member body. The body of membership, the GA in this case, is what is on this case. Now, you would agree with me that the GA can change every year in terms of its constitution. But what doesn't change is the body of the GA. So when someone mentions that they are going to remove themselves from the case and write to the adjudicator, it's almost redundant. It's almost silly. And I'll explain why I say that. Don't take it the bad way. Because if you really want to move yourself from this case, then you should stop being a member of Soba UK. You should exit from membership. That's the quickest direct way to remove yourself.
Wow.
Because don't take this to mean I want people to exit. I'm just painting a reality. The case is of the GA as a body. It's not of individuals. Now, if you see yourself as an individual being part of the GA, then that would be the only effective way of doing it. Now, it's slightly convoluted because we had a General Assembly where decisions were taken and instructions were given to the executive to go and implement this. Now, I remember there were 46 signatories to this decision, 46. If you are part of an association, whenever there's a General Assembly and a decision is taken, it's not about those 46 people, it's about everyone.
Absolutely.
Because everyone is sort of present by proxy, even if they are not present. So now, how do you write to an adjudicator to remove yourself when you have actually consented to making this decision as a member? And you have to realize that the party to the case, apart from it being a vice president and president representing the General Assembly, is the General Assembly as a body, not the General Assembly as people. So the only way to exit from the General Assembly is to leave the association. It's harsh, but we need to call a spade a spade. Now, going back to Chris's question, is it's almost weird asking the question to prospective candidates. First of all, prospective candidates may not have been privy to the details of this case, as the people on the applicant feel. But also, there is no way you change an existing case without legal advice. It's reckless. It's irresponsible. So if you are asking a candidate that when they take office and they immediately switch names or they change the whole aspect of liability, I don't know what to make out of that, to be honest with you. It's irresponsible if you do not seek legal advice. That's all I would say. And any sort of liability is limited to the association, not to members. Members should not feel like they have to go to their bank account to pull out money. It makes no sense. That's just not how these things work. So those questions can be answered with one sentence. Okay. Speak to the legal advice. Period.
Okay. Okay. Let me just ask you my follow-up question, and I think I'm done for the day. Okay. How do you? What are the differences and similarities between yourself and the current executive, per se, Ayok as the president? What do you people share in common? What are the aspects that you really like about this government, and what do you differ with the government? Many people out there, that's you are just a replica of Ayok.
Okay, Martin, I'll address your second part, then I'll address your main question. Yeah. To be honest with you, I spoke about this in my last webinar. I'm kind of half surprised and not surprised that it's coming up. I am sure it will come up again on Saturday. I will not go the line of saying I am my own man. I've already said that. But I would say any person who comes to any one of you talking about an Ayok puppet, Ayok lackey sort of thing, it's your responsibility to ask them to put out the virtues of their candidate they support. It's a very weak campaign going on that premise. It's very cheap. It's I would like to say it's insulting, but no, I will not dignify it saying it's insulting. It's just weak. It's cheap. They're trying to play you. A common decency and self-respect would be to put forth the virtues of your candidate rather than run an Ayok puppet sort of campaign. What are you hiding behind? Come at me. I am Franklin Egbe. You can come at me. don't be scared. Don't use the anti-Ayok thing. It doesn't make sense. Um, if can you remind me of your first part again?
The first part is what do you differ from Ayok?
Okay, what do I differ?
Yeah, what do you differ?
Okay, where we have similarities is we have a burning passion of this association, for this association. There is no doubt to Ayok's passion to this association. That is, any person who argues that is dishonest, frankly. I have that sort of passion for Soba UK. You can tell by a lot of things. I can even give you one occasion. We were at Dawn Church, and while the gala was going on and people were dancing and all that, our barbecue guy fell short. So we didn't have barbecue the next day, even though you guys enjoyed the meat. I had to leave my wife on the dance floor. You know what it means to stand up your chick. And run around getting a laptop, making phone calls at 3 a.m. at night, 3 a.m., making payments just to get another replacement for the barbecue the next day. Most people don't see things like that. Most people don't see that sort of action happening. I eventually had to come and finish that dance. It was a different music, but I have my ways. But the passion is there. What's different is our approach. Just by the fact that we're different people, we have different approach to things. Ayok has his approach, I have my approach. Ayok has his way of going about things, I have my way. Which is natural, it's obvious. We're two different individuals, we have two different backgrounds. We may have a common goal of making this association bigger and better. But we have different ways of going about it.
Yeah, but frankly, what are those ways? Can you elaborate a bit more detail, please? What are those ways that you differ?
Okay.
Like if you take presidency tomorrow, what has Ayok done that you think is burning in you to change?
Martin, can we see your face while you're asking questions, please?
No,
Okay.
please. Oh, let me have the floor. Martin, you're not obliged to have your video on. This is not a requirement. Your voice is all that's necessary. It's a funny one, right?
It's a difficult one. It's a difficult
No. It's just I'm gonna come to it. Anyone who knows me personally knows I have a calmer approach to things. A famous U.S. president says you can smile but have a baseball bat. I think that sort of describes me. I would smile, but when it comes to executing, I would smash that baseball bat. It might be a different approach to the sort of person that Ayok is. It's more a goal-getter. It's more a type A sort of personality. I think that goes into the specific differences, and that shows in how we handle things. We may almost arrive at the same destination, but it's natural to have that difference. There are a lot of things in my plan that I have for the association that will require a more mellowed approach, because right now we need more of a coalition than we needed before, and I think my personality is very suited for that sort of thing. It presents a steady hand and a steady, cool head to deal with the storms that are coming, and that is where I will make my difference.
Me. Can you hear me, Franklin?
Yes, Ernest, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Just a quick question. I haven't been. I do catch up now and again on the WhatsApp group, and I can see many of the faces that I don't know, but I can see some recurring themes. About 10% of the 112 members overshadowing things. I know it's election times, and we need to provoke the candidates. Clearly, from my own look, I can see that they are actually preferred candidates. You being a presidential candidate, you have preferred candidates that are going in for other positions, that are vying for other positions that will actually you want to work with. And I can see from my, maybe I'm wrong, from what I can read is, there are actually two camps going on. So let's say, I'm on the phone, please. Let's say there is a mix in that executive team on that day, and you're not having a preferred candidate with different approaches to things. How do you intend to galvanize the team so you can actually, 2 years goes really quick, so you can execute these plans? Because clearly people have got different ideas and they're going with different notions. I know somebody mentioned earlier that, they're thinking, some people say, no, your Ayok's second phase coming in, and there's an anti-Ayok campaign going on at the moment. We can't shy away from that. It's a reality. You can see it. How do you intend to galvanize in case somebody from the other group, because there is actually a bad, I wouldn't say a bad feeling, but strongly opinionated group going on at the moment in the, which is very strong. So. First of all, you have to tell me if you have a preferred candidate or for the other positions which you're going to work with, because you're not going to work on your own. And if in case there's a different mix, how do you intend to get those people on board so they can actually push through your agenda for the next 2 years? Because it's a short time.
And yes, thank you for your question. The beauty about the way Soba UK elections is we don't run on teams, we run as individuals. I, as president, can work with anybody who comes into executive. That's the person the General Assembly has chosen for that particular function. I don't think it would be so much of an issue having a mix, as we call it. I am human, and I kind of have my views of who best suits what role for the candidates running. But I'll keep those views reserved because they are my personal views. But it's important to know that, so Akani, as I was answering, I'm prepared to work with everybody. As president of the executive, the buck stops with me. The buck stops with me, which means my sort of manifesto is what will be driving the implementation, unless there is something better and we all have to adopt. But there is no parallel running of affairs. That's just not how an executive should work. That's not how my executive will work, irrespective of who's there. So I don't see this as a conflict. Once they are elected, there is one plan of action to execute on. I would lead that plan of action, and if there is an executive who doesn't agree to that, then there are other ways to deal with it. The buck stops with me as president. I've been given the mandate by the GA. The GA can override that, but it's one plan of action.
Thank you. That's good. Thanks.
Thank you. So guys, we have 9 minutes. If you can, whoever is asking, go ahead.
H2, can you hear me? Obi here.
Obi, hi.
Yes. H2, I think there's so much focus on unification with the other group. If the other group is not willing to engage, what do you do? Because obviously presumably you have a big part of your manifesto is about making peace, unifying with the other group. But what if they're not interested in talking to you or anyone else?
Okay, Obi, thank you for that question. Just to correct, it's not a big part of my manifesto. It just so happens that it's the elephant in the room, and this call is about it mainly. There's a whole lot of my manifesto which I'll present that has to do with other areas of our association, and not with unity. I think equally those areas should be given the same attention. But what will happen if they don't want to talk? Well, we need to sit with them and find that out to start with. I don't believe the sort of view on the other side is uniform. I don't believe everybody is posturing. I don't believe everyone has the same motivations. I believe there are some elements who want more of a control aspect than a unity aspect. Our job is to unify the brothers who want to unify. The brothers who want a control aspect, well, they can take that somewhere else. I am hopeful, based on my approach, that there would be ears and minds open to this. Otherwise, we're wasting our time. We still have the case, which we have to prosecute if we can't agree at a mediated settlement. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful based on the approach. I'm hopeful based on the sort of interaction, informality given to it, to bring some few people on board, isolate the hardliners if there are any, and take it from there.
Okay, Simon here. Can you hear me?
Hi, Simon.
Hello. Yes, for me, you mentioned that in the first 6 months you would like to arrange a face-to-face with the splinter group. If, say, you didn't manage that within the first 6 months, what will you do?
The first 60 days, of course.
Sorry, first 60 days. Sorry.
My engagement approach hasn't got a deadline. It's continuous. If we really want peace and unity, then it shouldn't be up to a certain time. I say first 60 days because it's good to set deadlines to goals. It pushes us to do whatever it takes to make them happen. This process is continuous. It doesn't stop this year. It doesn't stop next year. We work at it continuously. If we have a pushback, we re-strategize and go at it again. Of course, it doesn't mean we abandon our association or the running of our affairs in favor of it. As I did mention, it's but one aspect of the manifesto. There are so many things we can do with our organization to make it better, bigger, more transparent, more money in the coffers, more interactions, more sort of involvement of families and children. So there's a lot of things we can do that we will continue doing regardless. The engagement and approach to peace will be happening simultaneously. We get setbacks, we go again. Eventually, there would be plan Bs, areas of re-evaluating based on the feedback we're getting. I would like to give the benefit of the doubt that there are certain people who truly do not like the divide, truly want to see the end of it, and those are the sort of brothers who should come on board and have us go forward. Now, if people are having other motivations, want different things that are not in line with the aspirations of our members of our GA, then we definitely would not entertain that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Franklin.
Hi.
Yeah, Quintin here.
Hey, Quintin.
I've got a couple of questions for you.
Can I say we have kind of 2, 3, 4 minutes?
Some are unity related and some
if you can condense.
No, but I'll just because of the interest of time, I'll just ask one question.
Okay.
In the last year, you've seen the efforts of the UTF. We've actually reached out to these guys. My question is, why must we be the ones to reach out? Because you are a larger group, our platform is strong, finances are strong, So why must we be the ones to reach out to these guys? And secondly, are you in any way worried about the cost of this litigation on the finances of Soba UK?
Okay. Thank you for those questions. Why we must reach out? Because we just have to be responsible. Waiting is just propagating the same things we claim we do not want. We just have to act responsibly. It doesn't depend on that. We should at least know the situation with respect to willingness to have peace, rather than just sit on one side and do nothing. Doing nothing is not an option.
Frankly, what I'm saying is that we've reached out before several times as a matter of fact, but then it seems to be a one-sided thing. It seems to be the Ayuk administration always reaching out to these guys. The common consensus is these guys want unity, but why can't they reach out to us? Why must we be the only ones reaching out?
You're right. You're right. There's been several instances of reaching out. As I said before, none has really been a face-to-face encounter or any aspect of sharing activities or that. We can always try different ways. We have to exhaust this process. We have to exhaust reaching out. We can't just fold our arms because we've tried 3 to 4 times. We need to make sure we genuinely pursue this. If it is what our members want, then we need to genuinely proceed. If our members do not want that, then we carry on. So I don't see any limit to that. At the same time, I must emphasize that it doesn't hamper us carrying as our association. In other areas, we have to improve on. Your question about cost, of course, business cost isn't anything anybody wants to incur. So keeping an eye on the cost is critical, it's important, which is why I'm proposing the mediated settlement approach outside the legal framework. If we can successfully execute that, then we can both avoid denting our finances. So yes, it's a concern. It's in the radar.
Okay,
Franklin, good evening.
Good evening.
Hans here.
Hey,
good evening to my brothers on the call. What an initiative. I know time is of the essence at the moment. Right. You did mention that you'll be planning to have joint events or social activities with the other group. How would that be managed?
We would pretty much start with our free events. These are not paid events or any of that sort. So you know how we have our football tournament. Each member puts in money and shows up. So that sort of low cost, low engagement sharing. We're not talking of convention or some sort of cost related event. We're talking of outdoor events where it doesn't come out of the coffers, but we still get to bond. We're also talking of a thing like if we have to do St. Joseph's Feast Day, then we can sit down with the group if they are willing. Everything I'm saying is based on willingness. If they are not willing, then all of that is not gonna hold. But we'll be looking at sort of the non-financial committal events where members just come up with contributions, like how we run our outdoor activities currently, and go from there really.
Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, I know the interest increases by the minute, but we've run out of time. Funny enough, my battery is also running out soon. I want to thank everyone who's devoted their time this evening to come on this webinar. I appreciate it. I appreciate the questions. I wish we could chat for longer, but we have Saturday. So I look forward to speaking with everyone on Saturday and taking more questions in what we have. So thank you very much. Thanks again for your questions and for your time. And safe journey to the venue on Saturday, and see you all then. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.